Welcome everybody. All right, I'm so glad to have you here today. Thanks for joining me. This is our 7th piano lesson in my adults and teens COVID-19 virtual piano lesson series, and I'm so glad you're here. Give yourself a round of applause. You've made it 7 weeks. So great work there. That's fantastic. Well, so to start this lesson, of course, we're going to do the same thing we usually do. Everybody hit the share button if you can. Just let everybody know that it's time for piano. The second thing, of course, is if you haven't already done it, go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can search Izzy Chia, okay? Next, I will remind you to join our private Facebook group. It's called Encore Music Makers, and you can find it under the Groups tab of the Facebook page, okay? This is where I provide feedback to all of my students, and you get to be part of a very supportive community of piano learners, so that's always exciting. And the last thing, of course, is if you haven't purchased your book, I highly recommend that you do so. I'm not providing digital copies anymore since we're past the agreement with the publisher, so you're going to have to get your book in order to participate, okay? You can find it on Amazon, Prima Music, Sheet Music Plus, Barnes & Noble, and other music retailers, okay? All right, well, let's get started. I'm so happy that you're here. Okay, so first things first, we're going to start with reviewing last week's songs, okay? Remember, we were working on Merrily We Roll Along and Largo, okay? So let's turn to page 35 and let's play through those songs, okay? All right, wonderful. So here we are. I'm going to switch to piano view. Okay, friends, so let's find our C position, okay? I found my right hand thumb is on C. I count down 1, 2, 3, and there is my left hand thumb, okay? Let's get started. I'm going to count off, and we were going to play our Merrily We Roll Along. Ready? 1, 2, ready, play. So how did you do on that song, huh? Did you manage to get all the way through it? Were there any tricky spots for you, or were you okay? You were okay? That's wonderful. Yeah, so we had tied notes in our left hand. We also had the C major triad, we talked about that last week, as well as the left hand G7 chord. So that's pretty exciting. I'm very proud of you guys. Now, let's see if we can try to keep this momentum going and play through Largo, which was our second song that we had learned for the week, okay? This one was the major melodic theme of Dvorak's symphony, the New World Symphony, okay? It's kind of exciting. Okay, let's go ahead and switch. And we are going to find our spot again. Remember, this is still a C position song, so I'm going to put my hands there, just right there. Okay? Okay, I am in my spot. It does say that the tempo is slow. Okay? So we're going to try our best to do that. All right? Let's count off. 1, 2, ready, play. Wow, that was pretty wonderful. Okay, I love that theme. If you do get a spare moment, try to listen to the original New World Symphony. It's so beautiful. I promise you, you'll recognize the tune from your music, okay? So there you go. You did a fantastic job playing your 2 songs from last week. So give yourself a pat on the back, okay? Let's do this. Awesome. Let's do the other side. Great work, everybody. All right. So let's move on. Let's get some new stuff, okay? I'm going to turn the page. And on page 36, we are going to be introducing B for the right hand now instead of the left hand, right? We already learned about the having to use our pinky in the left hand for playing your B. We're going to be doing the same type of thing, but using your thumb, okay? So this is where we are. Awesome. Okay? Let's get on that same page. And here we are. Okay, so introducing B for the right hand. On that really tiny piano map up there at the very top, you notice there is our regular C position. But notice finger 1 on C is also going to be finger 1 on B, okay? So you're going to have to be able to stretch that thumb quite a bit just to reach it just enough, okay? Now, you also notice that written in the treble staff, it is going to be 1 note below middle C, okay? All right, if you see that there, then we will move on. I see here, sort of in the middle of page 36, there's a practice line of music, okay? I want to see if we can play through this practice line so we can get our eyes used to reading what it's like to play a B in the treble staff, okay? This line does have a repeat, so let's see if we can play it, okay? All right. All right, I'm putting my right hand in C position because that's where it's supposed to be. I have my right hand thumb on middle C, okay? All right, so starting there, I'm going to count off and we're going to play this practice line with repeats. Ready? 1, 2, ready, play. 2, down to B, F, G, hold, back to C, G, hold, down to B, F, G, hold, repeat, C, E, G, hold, down to B, F, G, hold, back to C, E, G, hold, down to B, F, G, hold. There you go, very good. If you were able to keep up with me on that line, that's really, really great, okay? Now, we've played these 2 chords, the C major chord and the G7 chord. We just played them melodically. Now we need to see if we can play it harmonically, okay? If you can play it harmonically, then we are golden. We can learn the next song, okay? Let's see if we can play the C major chord with the right hand, okay? All right, so the very bottom line of 36, there's a small practice line with harmonic chords. I'm going to play that. 1, 2, ready, play. 2, 3, 4, down to G7, 2, 3, 4, back to 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, to the G7, 2, 3, 4, and the 1, 2, 3, 4. Very cool. All right, so now you've played both the C major and the G7 chord for the right hand melodically and harmonically. So that is definitely an accomplishment, okay? Let's see if we can start applying those skills that we've just learned into our first song for the week's practice, okay? We're going to be learning on page 37 a song called Mary Ann, okay? This song is pretty cool because the melody lines is actually in the left hand, okay? You'll notice that as you're going through the song. And the cool harmonic chords are actually in the right hand this time, okay? So it's kind of like flip-flopped. Usually we have like the melody in the right hand and the, the chords are living in the left hand. But for this song, of course, it's going to be switched, okay? There are some interesting things in this song, like tied notes, chords, dynamic changes, and all kinds of interesting things. We even have the B in the left hand show up too. So we're going to go through Marianne nice and slowly, okay? I don't want to overwhelm you. It is a 4-line song, okay? So let's see if we can play through this, all right? Let's do it. All right. So first things first, we're going to find our spot. We have our right hand in C position. We count down 1, 2, 3, and there's your left hand. Remember, I mentioned this one does start with the melody in the left hand. Okay, so I'm going to count off slowly, and we're going to start the song. Ready? All right. 1, 2, ready, play. Up to G, down to C, up to E, D, F, hold, D, F, down to B, D with a 4, D, C, E, hold, C, C, C. Now left hand again, E, up to G, G, down to C, stretch to B, hold, and D with the 4, D, C, C, hold. Yeah, wow, okay. How did you do on that one? That is a tricky song, I'm not gonna lie, okay? That one has a lot of interesting elements in it. We really have to pay attention to where the placement of the note is on the bass staff. Because if we don't, we can miss a very key interval in getting the melody just right, okay? I noticed a couple spots where this happens, okay? Looking here at the second line, second measure, you see that finger 5B, right? That's that left hand B where you have to stretch down. It goes up a third to a D, but it's using a finger 4. Okay, so that means you're going to have to stretch your 5 and your 4, right? So I'm going to put a circle on that measure, okay? Second line, second measure. I also noticed that another interesting interval is probably going to be on the third line, between the first and second measure. Okay, the rhythm changes here too. We have quarter notes going down to a half note, right? So a quarter note G, which is your finger 1, down to a half note C, which is your finger 5. That's a fifth. We haven't quite learned about, well, actually we did learn about fifths, didn't we? We did, because we played my fifth, right? Okay, so I'm going to circle those two notes, that G quarter note down to a C half note. Okay, let me show you my two circles. You see them? There's one here and one down here. All right, excellent. Moving on. Now, notice that the right hand only had those two harmonic chords. We had C major triad, and we also had this G7 chord for the right hand, okay? Those we had just learned on the page prior. But in order for us to get it just right, let's see if we can play through the song once more, okay? Remember, if you have trouble with it on the second time through right now, you can always join me on Monday for practice with me, okay? All right, let's get it started. Okay. I'm looking at my spot. I've got my right hand in C position. And I have my left hand here in C position as well, okay? Now, starting here with our left hand, finger 3, okay? We will be playing all through Marianne on page 37, all right? Let me count off. 1, 2, ready, play. C, up to E, D, F, hold, G7, D, F, stretch to B, stretch to D, D, C, E, hold, E, G, down to C, E, D, F, D, F, stretch to B, stretch to D, D, C. Awesome. Hey, little by little, it will get easier, right? You notice that as we are progressing in this piano method, it is a little bit more complicated than some of the children's methods. The reason being is that as an adult or as a teen, you have a little bit more discipline, right? In order to sit at the piano and work on those tricky spots, right? It doesn't take quite as much frustration to get through things. I'm not saying that you don't get frustrated, because I'm sure you do, but it's not quite as overwhelming, okay? All right, so that was Mary Ann. That'll be the first song that you practice for this week, okay? Let's turn the page. Okay. Now, I want you to turn to page 40, okay? Page 40. Let me show you what that looks like. Page 40. All right, there's 2 pink boxes and a song at the bottom. All right, now page 40, we have 2 pink boxes, like I just said. That means that we're learning 2 new concepts today, and they're going to be very important concepts. All right, the first thing is we're learning a new time signature, right? Do you remember time signatures, what they meant? The top number means something and the bottom number means something? Yeah, so this time signature that we're learning is called 3/4 time, okay? So the 3 on the top is telling you how many beats are going to be in each measure, okay? So instead of counting to 4 like we have been, we're just going to count to 3 this time, okay? The bottom number, a quick reminder, is telling you the type of note that gets the beat. And in this case, the quarter note. The block note with the stem is going to get your beat, okay? All right, so if you see that in your music, you're only counting to 3, all right? The second thing that we're learning today is a new type of note. And I love this note. It's a great note. This in here is called a dotted half note, okay? And it actually goes very well. It complements our 3/4 time perfectly, because the dotted half note gets 3 beats. So it makes sense, right? You got to have a note that fills a measure that's 3 beats long, right? So dotted half note is going to be that note for you, okay? Awesome. I'm so glad you guys are here with me. Okay, so moving on then, that means that we are going to get a new song today that incorporates these 2 new elements, okay? In order for us to really understand these new things, we have to be able to put it into practice, right? So we have a song here on page 40 called Rockets, okay? It's a lovely little song, and it actually allows for a little bit of creative freedom, and I'll tell you about that later, okay? So Rockets, I'm looking at it and I see the tempo says moderately fast, okay? I also see that it's got that 3/4 time, right? It's 3 beats a measure. It also looks like it's going to be forte, right? Well, that makes perfect sense, right? Because if you think of like a space shuttle or a rocket, like blasting off into space, it's not something quiet. It's loud, so we're gonna have to play it forte, right? Oh, but look on the second line. The second line actually does have it as a piano for the dynamic marking. So in my brain, I'm thinking, okay, the first line is the blast off, right? But the second line could be as it's exiting Earth's orbit, right? It's getting quieter and quieter. Yeah, use your imagination with that one, okay? All right, so we've also got melodic intervals. We've got harmonic chords. We have that C chord and we have that G7, okay? So let's give it a try. How does that sound? All right. Switching to piano view. I'm going to get in my C position. I've got something there. Awesome. I have my left hand thumb on G. Beautiful. And we are going to get started. I see that we're traveling up by skips or by thirds, okay? So that's going to be interesting. All right, starts at the left hand, travels up to the right. Let's give it a count off. You ready? 1, 2, 3, ready, and play. Little song. What did you think? Was that like kind of fun to you? It could have been. I think it was fun because it really allowed for each hand to have a chance at the melody, right? The left hand starts it off and then the right hand gets to finish it. And it sort of rounds itself out with the chords in the left. So I think I want to try playing it once more though. Okay, let's try it one more time. Okay, so I have found my spot in my right hand, and there is my left. Okay, and I think I could probably play it a little bit more forte. What do you think? Yeah, I could probably play it louder. Let's give it a try. All right, 1, 2, 3, ready, and play. Cool. All right. So I think that Rockets is going to be a fun little song for two reasons. Not only do you get to play melodic and harmonic intervals, but you also get to get a little creative with it. I want you to look at the bottom of page 40. There are instructions that say important. Okay. It says, play Rockets again, playing the second line 1 octave or 8 notes higher. Ooh, that's cool. The rest at the end of the first line give you time to move, right? Yeah, that's super cool. And then it says, play Rockets a third time. Now with the first line 1 octave higher and the second line 2 octaves higher. Oh dear. This is either going to freak you out or really excite you. I think it'll be a little bit of both. Once you get used to traveling up the piano, you'll really enjoy it. So I'm going to play an example of that so you can see what it sounds like. It's actually pretty cool. All right, so here we are in regular C position, right? I'm going to play Rockets as written. And then when I play it the second time, the second line will be 1 octave higher. And then when I play it a third time, they're both going to be an octave higher. You ready? Let's give it a try. You can do this. All right, 1, 2, 3, ready, and play. Now I'm going to stay here and play it a third time. right. We have definitely exited the orbit of our planet by the end of that song, haven't we? Awesome work. Okay, so when you're practicing, of course, I want you to have fun with this. If you want to try doing that an octave higher, 2 octaves higher, go for it, right? Just give it a different sound, a different flavor. You might have a lot of fun with this song and not even realize it, right? So, great job today. I'm so proud of you guys. It's been such a fun time teaching you. So a couple things. We've learned about the G7 chord in the right hand. We've also learned about 3/4 time, which is 3 beats a measure. We learned about the dotted half note today, right? The 2 songs you'll be practicing are going to be Mary Ann, and that is on page 37, and Rockets on page 40, okay? Now you do have some theory, okay? So the theory for today, it's kind of funny pages. So you're gonna do page 39, okay? This is about that G7 chord in the right hand. I want you to complete that page, as well as page 41, which is all about 3/4 time and the dotted half note. Okay, wonderful. It looks like you also get to review some dynamics, so that's a good thing too. Okay, very, very good. So that's your theory for this week. Okay. As always, I want to remind everybody that I am accepting tips. Okay. In order for me to keep these lessons going, I need a little bit of financial support. So if you can find it in your heart or wallet to help keep these lessons going, I am accepting PayPal. My email is encoremusichtx@gmail.com. Venmo, my username is Izzy Chia. And Cash App, my username is IZZI3CH3A. Okay, thanks so much for that. Yes, and last but definitely not least, we end with our music quote, don't we? Today's quote I actually wanted to dedicate to probably one of the most influential rock and soul musicians out there, who I found out this morning just passed away. Little Richard. I'm sure we're very familiar with his very impactful music. So this is a quote from Little Richard, who passed away this morning. He says, "When one sings from the heart and it reaches another heart, that's soul." That is so true, right? When you're playing from the heart and it really moves somebody else, you know that that is soul, right? Not just soul music, but that's speaking to the soul, right? The soul of that person. So that's pretty awesome. So remember Little Richard today. Get a little tutti frutti in your day today, okay? All right, thank you guys so much. I appreciate you. I'll see you Monday for practice with me if you want to join me. And if not, I'll see you in the private group, okay? See you guys later. Take care.